Okay, so like many brands in history, Nordic Track rise was tied to the rise of another totally unrelated technology. But that technology helped buoy the success of that brand. And the technology in this case was videotape. And the reason why videotape became super important was because if you've ever seen the way in which you have to sort of move on a Nordic track, it's not natural. It doesn't come naturally to a human being. You've got to lean into this sort of cushion that's at waist level. You've got to synchronize your arm swings with your leg movements. And one user called it a reverse moonwalk. Are you seeing it in your head? Are you familiar with it?
I mean, as somebody who has tried to learn to moonwalk, putting that in reverse is like, yeah, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah. So I want you to take a look at this link I'm going to send you. This is actually the training video that was eventually sent out with Nordic Tracks on video cassette.
Okay.
So you can get a sense for just really how ungainly this is.
Okay. Hold on, Okay, the first screen says, please view this tape at least once before getting on your Nordic track.
I mean, this is a good warning. You just step on a Nordic track without practice, you're going to be in some trouble. Yeah.
Getting started on your Nordic track. Oh, the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is everything I thought it would be.
Totally.
You just joined the family of Nordic Track.
And then
people who enjoy the world's best cardiovascular exercise.
It's phenomenally awkward.
The lady on the back there just hauling.
It's a very large and growing
It's like they got the Golden Girls.
Totally. Everyone's kind of wearing a version of a chino too somehow. Like I feel like I know they're not really, but their workout clothes look like they're just chinos.
Yeah.
The purpose of the video is to make the Nordic Track familiar to you, so you can really enjoy it. First, we'll review the
Yeah, they look like
then I'll demonstrate.
they've been given the instruction to look at each other in approving ways, which makes me feel very awkward.
Totally.
It's creepy.
Yes. So this, if you look at the time signature on this video, it's is it 15 minutes?
14:38.
So you've got, if you were to kind of scrub this whole thing, you've got an introduction to how to put the machine together. You've got how to actually get on the machine. You've got how to move your legs. You got really detailed things. And this is all super, super important to the success of the Nordic Track because the machine actually never sold well in stores because people were embarrassed to fumble with it in public.
I would. It's like there's this whole world of home gym equipment that I associate with like garage sale shopping frustration, where you show up and you're like, they're like, this is $5, and you're like, I mean, like I love a vision of a future of myself where I'm like fitter, but like, and then they're like, oh, it's easy, and then they start to set it like, and you're just like the wires and the pulling. It just seems
the whole thing
mystifying.
It does seem, though, that because it has such a devout following, that once you kind of nailed this stuff, like you would love it and you're fine. But this awkwardness was actually responsible for its inability to be sold in retail stores on a regular basis and the high return rate. And so once they were able to include the video cassette with the machine, with the purchase itself, it reduced returns massively. Like completely changed everything around. That's because video cassettes were by the early 80s readily available, disposable, cheap. They could put them out and not have to worry about people not knowing how to use this thing. It's obviously a problem we don't have with the internet, but at that time it was a huge barrier to purchase and retention.
It's funny because you're like, if you look at the time signature, and I was like, 15 minutes.
I know. I know.
But back then, I'm sure you're like, oh, in 15 simple minutes, you learn how to do the, like, I'm sure that was like a snappy little video. Like, oh, it's only 15. You pop in the cassette. If you put in a cassette, you're like strapping in for 2.5 hours or whatever.
Totally, yeah.
But this definitely, he's caressing the cushion now.
The cushion was always strange to me. Like, you had to somehow put
ski
force
with
on
a
it.
Pillow. Yeah.
You had to put force on it, but it was always difficult because it was slanted, so you wanted to move backwards.